Hi, Jeff James from Mythology, and this pillar in this meaningful marketing workshop called alignment is one of the most strategic and critical pillars in this whole planning process. And it's not always the most glamorous, and it's certainly one of the most ignored, but I would venture to say that alignment of your marketing and branding and engagement strategy, if you don't have internal alignment within your company and throughout your partner networks, it's going to determine whether your whole marketing effort is a success or a failure. Those are pretty bold statements, but I've just seen too many situations where fantastic marketing ideas just completely fell apart because internally the people weren't set up to succeed in living up to the brand or following through on the marketing promise that you're putting out there. So it really doesn't actually do you much good to have a fantastic creative idea, attract all these people to your company, and then the experience that they have is terrible. That's going to work against you, obviously. You're going to generate bad word of mouth as opposed to the positive word of mouth that we want. So the alignment pillar is truly critical to understand. Now this kind of interesting design I've got back here, this is just sort of a graphic representation of the stages of internal alignment that you've got to work through in order for your marketing engine to be really successful. I want to give credit, the Business for Social Responsibility group, BSR, had a fantastic way of looking at this that I want to show you. You can Google them, Business for Social Responsibility. They were looking at this from a sustainability perspective. In other words, how can a company adopt sustainable or green practices? But I felt like their approach to it really completely is relevant for marketing as well. So let's take a look. The first step in internal alignment, without a doubt, is executive buy-in and visible support. The type of internal alignment that we're talking about can't really come from someone who's over to the side or too low in the organization to elevate this as a true priority for the company. If your top executives don't buy into the brand, and if they don't buy into the whole marketing process that you're trying to set up, it's just not going to work because the rest of the company has to also snap into alignment. And so if the top people aren't bought in, you're going to have a big challenge. Their support has to be very frequent, very visible, and very consistent. So again, if your executives aren't ready to sign up for that, you may not be ready for going really big with a marketing investment. So executive support. The second one is that the policies, and here you can see why executive support is so critical, but the policies, the strategies, and the structure of your organization have to support the brand and the value proposition that you've said that your company stands for. And that makes a lot of sense. Think about it. If you're saying that you're the lowest cost provider, or you're going to efficiently serve a customer, more efficient than anyone else, if your internal structure and business processes are not set up for that, then of course you're going to fail. And only the top executives can make sure that really happens. So policies, strategy, and structure. The third piece is, even if you do have those policies in place, you've got to make sure that the rest of the company is aware of it and buys into it. So internal communication. How many times have we talked to a client or a company that says, wow, half of our company didn't even know that this marketing campaign was hitting. They didn't realize that this is the direction of our company. And that's a little bit scary, but it happens in a lot of companies. So again, if the executives are bought in and there's processes in place and policies, then those have to be broadly and consistently and very deeply communicated so everyone feels like, yes, I understand what this brand is, I can articulate it, and I know how it attaches to my job. The fourth step is making this stuff real, has to do with measuring it. So meaningful metrics. And this is truly critical because if everyone's going to be told this is your job to live up to this brand, you've got to break it down into the steps that apply to their personal role and then be able to measure and give them performance feedback on how well they're living up to the brand or how well they're executing on that part of the marketing strategy. So it doesn't have to be a million different metrics or measurements, but it has to be the most, the smallest, most strategic list that's germane to the execution of the strategy. This, by the way, is a great intersection with the HR department in your company. If you have a balanced scorecard and some performance metrics that every employee should be thinking about as it relates to their job in building the brand, then HR can build that into job performance reviews. They can also build it into interviews. So you want to make sure you're actually bringing the people into the company that are going to buy into the brand and actually live it. So it's a really cool connection between the marketing team and HR team. Finally, another HR issue is, are your teams and your individuals, do they have incentives, and are they in fact accountable based on the measurements for their job? Are incentives and accountability built into their personal job description? So when they have a talk with their manager, are there incentives in place to say, you know what, we're all about serving premium luxury sort of customer segments. So there's going to be some specific performance metrics associated with that individual will say, yeah, I shouldn't be calling on people that are not qualified. I should only call on these people. That has to be built into the accountability system, or it's just not going to work. So you can see how it sort of grows from a core of executive support, creating the right policies and structure, making sure you've communicated that to the masses of your company, building in meaningful ways to indicate whether you're going to be successful or not with the right metrics, and then building in incentives and accountability for that to actually happen. So this is a really tough one, but it's really, really critical, and so I encourage you to take a look at some of the exercises beside this video and think about how your value proposition and the mythology of your brand could be supportive of this alignment process.